100 memorable D-Day photos you must see and know.
Subscribe for daily content. Support this channel so it can grow.
Only a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you feel like supporting me more, join my Patreon.
1. Members of the U.S. 4th Infantry Division and the 327th Glider Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne, crowd aboard an LCT on the way to Utah Beach, Normandy. D-Day +1, June 7, 1944. 2. The Queen and Princess Elizabeth talked to paratroopers in front of a Halifax aircraft during a tour of airborne forces preparing for D-Day, the 19th of May 1944. 3. American troops and crewmen aboard a Coast Guard manned LCVP as it approaches a Normandy beach on D-Day, the 6th of June 1944. 4. Troops crouch inside a LCVP landing craft, just before landing on Omaha Beach on D-Day, the 6th of June 1944. 5. D-Day. U.S. troops evacuate an injured soldier. 6. D-Day date is approaching gents, but many started their missions days before. Pathfinders synchronizing their watches before flying into battle in Normandy, the 5th of June 1944. 7. D-Day, 13:30 hours. Pegasus Bridge. After landing in gliders and a night of fighting men of the British 6th Airborne DIV. Here bagpipes, commandos from Sword Beach arrive linking up the two forces followed that night by the 2nd Battalion, 185th Infantry Brig. 8. Sergeant Jake McNeese of the 101st Airborne, Screaming Eagles, ready to parachute behind enemy lines on D-Day, 1944. 9. German artillery used during D-Day. 10. Airborne troops smile from the door of their Horsa glider as they prepare to fly out as part of the second D-Day drop on the night of June 6, 1944. Writing on the side says, "Angels with dirty faces" along with a list of women's names. 11. American soldiers, injured while storming Omaha Beach on D-Day, recover just after the landings in Normandy, France on June 6, 1944. 12. Troops coming ashore on Omaha Beach at noon on D-Day. 13. D-Day +1. Black soldiers often ignored in the records. William Dabney from the 320th Barrage Balloon Battalion, 1st African American unit in the segregated U.S. Army to come ashore on D-Day. 14. U.S. soldiers wait in a landing craft as it approaches Omaha Beach during the D-Day landings in Normandy, France, June 6, 1944. 15. Map marked with the Allies' D-Day invasion plans. 1944. 16. Canadian soldiers land on Courcelles Beach in Normandy, on June 6, 1944 as Allied forces storm the Normandy beaches on D-Day, June 6, 1944. 17. Canadian soldiers in a landing craft assault, LCA, head for the beachhead from HMCS Prince Henry during the Allied D-Day landings. 18. July 1944 Private. John C. Rodriguez, Pawtucket, R.I., gives two weary paratroopers their first taste of GI food in 37 days. They were captured by the Germans the latter part of D-Day, escaped after several days' imprisonment during a night march, living off raw potatoes most of the time. 19. Salvo, the paradog, dropped behind German lines to accompany D-Day troops and sniff out mines. Asterisk. 20. D-Day dinner. American engineers eat their meal on top of ammo boxes. 21. The German coastal gun battery at Long-sur-Mer. This imposing fortification was located between Omaha and Gold Beaches. Despite a heavy aerial and naval bombardment, the battery was still in action on the afternoon of D-Day. 3 of its 4 152 mm naval guns were knocked out by Allied warships. 22. Among the U.S. 101st Airborne Division, the Filthy 13 Volunteer Pathfinders were a unique group. Parachuting into France just after midnight on June 6, 1944, they were among the first Allied troops to set foot on French soil as the D-Day invasion commenced. Tasked with marking the drop zones. 23. Gigantic logistical effort thrown by the Allies into D-Day and the subsequent months. Almost everything had to be taken to the continent, including whole trains, locomotives and cars, since Allied air power had destroyed most of the ones available in France. 24. The Mulberry Artificial Harbour off Arromanches in Normandy, September 1944. An aerial oblique photograph of the Mulberry Harbour off Arromanches. Artificial harbors were constructed along the beach shortly after D-Day so that armored vehicles and heavy guns could be landed. 25. 83 feet Coast Guard cutters of Rescue Flotilla 1 saved 484 men on D-Day. 26. Canadian soldiers guarding a group of prisoners on Juno Beach on D-Day. 27. Despite being 56, suffering from arthritis and a heart condition which forced him to use a cane, Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt Jr. was among the first wave of soldiers to land on D-Day, specifically Utah Beach, personally leading an assault. 1944. 28. 76th anniversary of D-Day. The white stripes behind the Ranger insignia are command stripes. Known as "Follow Me" bars, they are used to show whose orders and movements you need to follow if the fog of war has set in and you have no idea what is happening, which incidentally can happen a lot when you're getting shot at. 29. Despite suffering wounds from shrapnel, 76 years ago on D-Day, Army medic Waverly B. Woodson made it ashore Omaha Beach. For the next 30 hours, he treated over 200 men before collapsing from his injuries. He was nominated but never received the Medal of Honor. 30. Tension in the faces of these Royal Marine Commandos as they approached the Normandy beaches on D-Day. June 6, 1944. 31. Frank L. Wendell, in England before the D-Day invasion. He was a cannon crew member on a 105 mm howitzer. 32. The sheer magnitude of D-Day. 33. Men of the 1st Canadian Parachute Battalion displaying a captured Nazi flag at Wismar, Germany, 1945. From D-Day to V-Day, 12,500 Canadians died in the liberation of Europe. 34. A cool depiction of a D-Day veterans' memories of the landings. Pic was taken in Normandy. 35. Testing a LVT, landing vehicle transport, equipped with 2 Wasp flamethrowers prior to D-Day. 36. On D-Day, Private John Marvin Steele was the American paratrooper who landed on the pinnacle of the church tower in St. Mere-Église. 37. D-Day +2, members of U.S. 5th Engineer Special Brigade make their way in Omaha Beach. 38. One of the surviving images Robert Capa took at Omaha Beach on D-Day. 39. D-Day, afternoon. Canadians guard some of the first German prisoners on Juno Beach. 40. D-Day. June 6. A German soldier tries to dig himself out after being buried by an aerial bomb. 41. After D-Day landing, the British got involved in heavy fighting around Villers-Bocage trying to reach Caen. RAF Lancaster were called in 2 raids to carpet bomb the area almost CAS style to clear the area. 42. 101st Airborne Division veteran Ralph Maley faces the grave of his twin brother Roland Maley, killed in combat at the age of 19 on D-Day in Normandy, 2018 image. 43. The resolute faces of paratroopers of the 101st Airborne just before they took off for the initial assault of D-Day, June 6, 1944. The paratrooper in the foreground has just read General Eisenhower's message of good luck and clasps his bazooka in the other hand. 44. Wreckage left on Sword Beach following the D-Day landings in Normandy, France. In this case, a P-47 Thunderbolt that was shot down the 10th of June 1944 on a mission to Cherbourg, France. July 2, 1944. 45. Captain Robert Ray of the 82nd's 507th Parachute Infantry Regiment checks his manifest before boarding his C-47 aircraft for the D-Day airborne assault, June 5, 1944. Color by Piece of Jake. 46. U.S. Gen. Dwight D. Eisenhower gives instructions to paratroopers in England in preparation for the imminent D-Day invasion on June 6, 1944. 47. Crater left by American warships D-Day invasion. 48. 1 year after the D-Day landings in Normandy, German prisoners landscaped the first U.S. cemetery at Saint-Laurent-sur-Mer, France, near Omaha Beach, on May 28, 1945. 49. Canadian soldiers land on Courseulles Beach in Normandy, on June 6, 1944 as Allied forces storm the Normandy beaches on D-Day, June 6, 1944. 50. German soldiers with their American captors, just after the D-Day landings, June 1944. 51. Marines of the first wave going ashore on D-Day on Peleliu. Photographed by Vasicek, September 1944. 52. Spitfire. Bringing beer kegs to the men in Normandy. British breweries donated free beer to soldiers during World War II, but just after D-Day, there was no room made to ship it over the English Channel. Spitfire mechanics and pilots worked together to modify pylons to carry either specially modified drop tanks or beer casks to deliver brews to the troops. Official missions were stopped when the UK tax office warned brewers they would get in trouble for exporting beer abroad without paying taxes. But pilots still found ways to get beer where it was needed. The Spitfire MKX was an evolved version of the Spitfire, with pylons under the wings for bombs or tanks. It was discovered that the bomb pylons could also be modified to carry beer kegs. According to pictures that can be found, various sizes of kegs were used. Whether the kegs could be jettisoned in case of emergency is unknown. If the Spitfire flew high enough, the cold air at altitude would even refresh the beer, making it ready for consumption upon arrival. 53. On Peace Day 2013, 9,000 silhouettes of soldiers were etched into the sand on Normandy Beach. This was to commemorate the fallen from D-Day World War II. It only lasted a few hours till the tide came in. 54. Engineers of the 531st Engineer Shore Regiment explode a German landmine during the Allied invasion of France. 55. Ammunition stored in the town square of Morton in Marsh, England in May 1944 in preparation for D-Day. 56. U.S. Army infantrymen approaching Omaha Beach, Normandy, France on June 6, 1944. 57. American paratroopers attached to the static line just prior to jumping during the invasion of Normandy, France. 58. American troops and their equipment disembark from U.S. Navy landing craft onto a beach east of Toulon during the Allied invasion of southern France. 59. U.S. Navy landing craft are loaded in England just before the D-Day Normandy invasion 1944. 60. Veteran Roland Chasin stormed the beaches on D-Day aged 19. 61. Royal Navy divers prepare to dive in Cherbourg port to secure it after D-Day, Normandy 1944. 62. A column of British troops marches through the French town of Douai, D-Day +5, the 11th of June 1944. 63. East Yorkshire Regiment land at Queen Red Sector, Sword Beach D-Day. 64. A plume of smoke rises over Utah Beach in Normandy as the Allies storm ashore. 65. After being captured in Normandy on D-Day, Medic Lieutenant Brian N. Bodin and 2nd Lieutenant Paul E. Lehman, both of 3rd Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 82nd Airborne Division celebrate their liberation. 66. American reinforcements landing on Normandy beaches June 23, 1944. 67. GI enjoys chicken, potatoes, bread, and canned pineapple about 1 month before D-Day. 68. Colorized photo of an M10 Wolverine tank destroyer rolling onto the beach as part of a training exercise in England prior to D-Day. 69. Omaha Beach, Dog White Sector, D-Day +1. 70. Reinforcements arrive by sea to bolster U.S. troop numbers on the Normandy front after D-Day, 1944. 71. Nearly sunset of D-Day -1. Short Stirlings line up on the tarmac with their airspeed Horsa gliders with the British paratrooper counterparts of the U.S. 82nd DIV. Pegasus Bridge will be a key area secured by them hours later. 72. Footage from the Allied invasion of Normandy, D-Day 1944. 73. Photo taken moments after landing at Omaha Beach during D-Day. Taken by Robert Capa, France, June 6, 1944. 74. British engineers holding up a fake tank used to deceive the Germans before D-Day. 75. GIs getting haircuts from an army barber just before D-Day, 1944. 76. U.S. Rangers scaling the wall at Point du Hoc June 6, 1944, D-Day. 77. Brian, the dog, preparing for the D-Day invasion. 1944. 78. A dummy Sherman next to an M4A1, used to deceive German reconnaissance reports in Britain ahead of D-Day. 79. D-Day. Approx 0500 am, HMS Warspite fires some of the first salvos of the invasion off the Normandy beaches. By 0520 am the naval bombardment of the naval force is in full swing. Warspite will fire plus 300 of 375 mm shells in 48 hours. 80. A-20 from the 416th Bomb Group making a bomb run on D-Day, 6 June 1944. 81. German POWs are led down the cliffs of Point du Hoc on D-Day +2. 8 June 1944. 82. Decoy paratrooper, paradummies, from D-Day invasion. 83. 2 weeks after D-Day AM-7 Priest with the 14th Armored Field Artillery Battalion of the 2nd Armored Division moves along the Rue Holgate, Corentin, France, 18 June 1944. 84. 3 P-61 Black Widows from the 9th Air Force's 422nd Night Fighter Squadron based out of Scorton heading out over France shortly after D-Day. 85. German prisoners taken on one of the British beyond D-Day in Normandy. 86. General Eisenhower addresses paratroopers D-Day, the eyes of the world are upon you. June 5, 1944. 1 day before D-Day. Colorized. 87. They fight not for the lust of conquest. They fight to end conquest. They fight to liberate. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's official address announcing the D-Day invasion, June 6, 1944. 88. Sherman tank in France after D-Day, 1944. 89. Normandy, France, D-Day, 6 June 1944. The building behind the posing soldiers, now a pizza shop, was a German communications bunker captured by American troops on D-Day. 90. Men of SS Panzergrenadier Regiment 25 12ths. SS Panzer Division, Hitler-Jugend, erect temporary grave crosses for SS Oberscharführer Helmut Belk along the walls of Abbaye d'Ardennes, Ardennes Abbey, during the first days of the Normandy invasion. 91. German POWs escorted along one of the Gold Beach areas on D-Day. 92. A street in southern England filled with Shermans and amphibious vehicles of the 13th 18th Royal Hussars before the D-Day landings, June 1944. 93. Pathfinders of the 2nd Battalion, 505th Parachute Infantry, 82nd Airborne, an aircraft crew of plane No. 10 just before D-Day in front of their C-47 Skytrain at RAF North Witham. 94. D-Day date is approaching gents, but many started the work well in advance. Sherman tanks await D-Day in a British depot. 95. Canadian Larry Wolfe, left, on special duty, sitting on an aircraft bomb, 5 June 1944. The bomb was for use the following day, D-Day 1944. 96. Right after D-Day, the U.S. commissioned these pictures of Adolf Hitler in different disguises to track him down in case he fled World War II Germany. The pictures were made by New York makeup artist Eddie Sens in 1944 and were commissioned by the Office of Strategic Defense, OSS, the World War II predecessor of the CIA. The OSS sent these pictures to Allied commanders and also put up posters of these all over Germany in 1945, when Hitler's death wasn't a certainty yet. These pictures were not seen by the general public until the 1990s, when German magazine, Der Spiegel, unearthed and published them. 97. LCT 318 at HMS Northney, Hailing Island, preparing for D-Day. 1944. 98. A brief mealtime for U.S. Army Rangers somewhere on the French coast after completion of their D-Day assignments 6 June 1944. 99. This is Harry Houdetz, a 508th HQ Parachute Infantry Regiment 82nd Airborne Division paratrooper who was a regimental boxing champion during WW2. He jumped into Normandy D-Day and fought on the site of Hill 30 between Chef DuPont and Pecaville. Colorized by Piece of Jake. 100. American GI moving toward Omaha Beach taken by Kappa.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a comment, like and subscribe. Support the channel so I can bring you more content. Thank you again.